Hey guys, thank you so much for joining the Southern Spirits podcast. I have the pleasure today of having Alex Saizon, probably not your middle name.
No.
Here we have now been doing business with Alex for 2 years.
I think we're getting close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years. In this business, there's a lot of really shitty products, and we get offered a lot every day. And it's very nice when you get a product that is offered that not only do the bartenders are stoked about, but the people that really know the industry are stoked about. And you created that. So thank you for creating it. Can you, first off, just tell us, this is your product, and we're going to do a flash cover to show that product and a link to show in to your website.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, to where you can get it. But tell us a little bit about why are you in the old-fashioned business?
All right, man. So thanks for having me on. It's been a great, couple of years just hanging out and getting to work with you guys, getting to come up here. I love the country up here. Awesome. Being from South Louisiana, everything's flat and humid. I don't care what month of the year it is. So coming up here, you get off the plane and it's like, oh, this is great.
Breeze.
Dude, so I love it. A little bit of elevation.
When did you start the company?
So started this company in 2019.
Okay. Pre-COVID, perfect time.
Yeah, pre-COVID, which I'm not that smart. It just kind of fell into place. And kind of the story behind it is I started drinking bourbon before bourbon was cool. Like when you could get all the cool stuff on the shelf.
How
right?
old are you?
I'm 39. I'll be 40 in a handful of months.
Awesome.
And so, and kind of the way I tell people, like, I like beer, but beer doesn't like me. And so, start drinking whiskey. Take my first sip of whiskey. I'm like, you can run a lawnmower with this stuff. Like, I got to mix it with something, man. And so, I got a sweet tooth. We love to cook and love to drink and make all kind of cool stuff down in South Louisiana. So, for me, the old fashioned, I was like, this is the most classic whiskey cocktail, bourbon or rye. Let's go.
Perfect.
So started doing that, and then, I don't know, man, maybe 6-7 years later, it's like, I think I can make a pretty cool simple syrup.
Because was there anything on the market at the time?
Not that I could find. I mean, so there was no like high-end, bougie, nice, good. There was just cane sugar water on the market. And so when I would taste good quality bourbons, 10, 12, 14-year-old stuff, you pull a little bit, obviously you got some oak in there, maybe a hint of vanilla in some things floral. And so I wanted a simple syrup that just really complemented the already existing flavors of a good bourbon and a good rye, right? Nothing that competed with them, just something that was seriously complementary to them. And then also very high quality, because if you go back to, 17, 18, 19, and 20, that's when bourbon started to leave that $35, $40 a bottle price point. And
Absolutely.
We're starting to see 60, 70. We're starting to see single barrel offerings and stuff like that. And so I just felt like, I could produce something that fitted. Now, full transparency, my background's finance and accounting, right?
Well, boring. Nice.
Yeah. So I'm spreadsheets and PowerPoint all day.
Wow.
And so I go home, making old fashions. So I worked on this recipe for about a year. Made it too thick, made it too thin, not enough flavor, too much flavor. And then kind of got it dialed in where I liked it.
Nice.
Still didn't have the thought of selling it. Just wanted to make it selfishly for me.
This is what, 2017, 18?
Yeah, this is probably 17, 18.
Okay.
My wife and I, we get to go to New Orleans a lot because it's a 2-hour trip for us. Nice. So, a date weekend for us is New Orleans. And we love
Cocktail Central.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And really, really good stuff. That's what I love about cocktails is, cocktails are meant to experience spirits, not for you to like every one of them, right? It's like when you go to a really good restaurant, you may not like the way a dish looks, but man, if you take a bite, it's like, wow, that was amazing. So it's that
good way. That's awesome. I like
it's kind of that creativity. Well, you get that in New Orleans at every turn, right? I mean, it's just the whole city has just got culture, it's got just personality, and it's got a ton of flavor. So that did definitely help inspire this kind of unique molasses, vanilla bean, cane sugar kind of flavor profile I was going for. Come in 2019 and I gone through, so LSU, right? Go Tigers.
Yeah.
So LSU has a great agri-science department where people like me can send our recipes to. How we make it, very specific, and they will test it. And they'll give us kind of a product review, right? Is it shelf stable? All of these things that...
Is that free?
No, it's not free, but it's very affordable. Okay. Very affordable. I mean, the total investment you're talking is probably under $500.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, to get all this stuff done.
Oh, the LSU, what was it?
Agri-science.
Cool.
And they have what's called an incubator kitchen. So I don't use their actual facility, but we just use them for testing. And they're, very quick process, very easy process.
Early 2019, you sent your stuff in, or 18 you sent stuff in?
Yeah. It was kind of beginning of 19.
Okay.
And then, so we learned that our shelf stability is very good. It's an acidified food. And so you also got like a little bit of, acidity in the product. We use some very specific acids, granulated acids, to kind of bring in those citrus notes. Again, it's a mixer. So
What's your
citrus
shelf life?
that we advertise a year. Man, I've got bottles that are over 2.5 years old that
Or still
they're good to go.
That's awesome.
So the pH, this is when I kind of started learning about pH. And funny short story, I got the first summary back from this PhD food scientist guy.
Huh.
He's like, hey, your water activity is really good. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Your pH is 5.4.
Right.
I'm like, all right, cool. Is that good? He's like, man, if you can get it to 4.6 or lower, he's like, you're golden. You have a shelf-stable product. You have what we classify as an acidified food. You're good to go. I'm like, how do I do that? He says, I don't know, dude, but don't mess up the flavor. I'm like, Cat,
Dang.
I drink whiskey and I do accounting. I don't know.
Help me out.
Yeah, give me a bridge.
Wow.
Called a winemaking friend of mine. I'm like, hey, you wine people are pretty weird about your pH.
Smart.
How do we get this down? And so they're like, look, there's multiple, these granulated acids, citric, malic, all kind of things you can use where you can kind of dial in that citrus note of it, and you can also get that pH more acidic. Because we're talking a little bit of move on the scale.
Cool.
Get a pH tester, quickly go through that process in my kitchen, with my wife as the test dummy.
That's awesome.
And we get the pH south of 4.6, send that back in. So they run the official pH test on it.
Yeah.
We get the green light, submit everything to Department of Health. And that's a pretty easy process. FDA, from what I hear, is not fun. But
Why would somebody go FDA?
It just depends on the type of product. Like if you were doing beef jerky.
You didn't have to on this.
No, this is it's not meat, poultry, seafood. So I'm good. Just Department of Health, DHH.
So 2019, you come with your recipe.
Yeah.
And then how are you like, I'm going to bottle this thing? How do you get that process started?
Man, so in the
bottling lines, from what I understand, are kind of a complicated thing.
Yeah, so you may want to edit some of this out. I don't know, but I'll just give you the down and dirty. I kept it real simple, man. So a lot of the equipment that we utilize today comes from the beer industry.
Okay.
So our brewing kettles, or our kettles, are just double-walled beer brewing kettles. Now we've grown the size of them, right? But I mean, I started with a little 5-gallon double-walled beer brewing kettle. Make it in that. And off of all of those, you're going to have a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch port at the bottom with either a valve on it, or you can hardline if you did have a very sophisticated bottling system. So in the beginning, sanitize the bottles, step one, which is kind of a liquid.
And you're hand filling them?
Yep.
Wow.
Just sitting there with a funnel, dude. But I mean, I'd make 100, I think batches back then were like, 62 or 63 bottles at a time.
Okay.
So
how long does a batch take you to make?
So today a batch will yield about 126 bottles, 127 8-ounce bottles. And that'll take right at about 3 hours from going in the kitchen, getting the pot going, sanitizing everything. When the bottles leave the kitchen, they're sealed. We don't have a label on them because the liquid is so hot. It's not boiling. You don't want to boil syrup.
Huh.
But it's pretty warm. And so we let them cool down, typically a 24-hour process. So we're labeling the previous day's production, every other day, right?
Who's we?
Me and a very small team. So I actually pulled my dad in on this.
Oh, awesome.
Kind of a reverse father-son business.
Yeah.
You can maybe relate to that.
That's so cool.
My dad's 70, and he's fully retired, and he's like,
Why not?
I don't know what to do, man. I've cut all the grass.
Right. That's right.
I'm bored.
That's right.
So he comes in with me and helps me with that. And then I have a little bit of stretch capacity just in kind of like younger college kids. on the labeling and packing side.
Cool.
You know, so I'm very, very, very anal when it comes to the recipe. Like it's gotta be a certain way. And this,
Are you keeping a bottle from each batch in
No.
the library to test for later or anything?
no, I pull, so like when we hit milestones, you know, a bottle 20,000, bottle 30,000, bottle 40,000, I'll yank those off the
Are
line.
these numbered?
They're batch numbered. Yeah. So, and then,
Cool.
yeah. And again, I just pull stuff from bourbon, man. Like, so it's copper foil embossed because copper and stills.
Yeah.
Batch number because I'm like, it's small batch, you know? We don't have a single barrel Sirop offering yet.
Not yet. We're getting there.
I don't know how we do that, but
I want lemon heavy.
yeah. We want a very specific Southern Spirits flavor profile.
That would be sick.
Yeah. Our next evolution is I want to go to the RTD space. I want to do just super high quality old fashions.
Nice.
And you know, so on my side, on the supplier side, and maybe like you can kind of relate with this, and maybe even, you know, give me some guidance, give me some kind of, you know, feedback. But like, there's a lot of pressure for suppliers to create multiple SKUs, right? And I tell people,
Except for Tito's, he's the only one.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, guys, look at Tito's. He's only got different SKUs because he's got different sizes. But he's got the same exact juice. I'm not saying that's a good or bad business approach, but I'm just saying I want to be really good at what we do, whatever that is. So if we bring you a product, especially a store like this, right? I think we've done a good job of building a brand that should resonate quality in every bottle, consistency in every bottle. And
You're doing that, by the way.
well, and we're trying, and
You are doing it.
and when we do cook it, it is not as simple as like just follow the recipe and you'll be fine. There are times when, you know, we're getting a batch up to temperature and I'm looking at it and the clarity is just not there, right? So if you've ever made wine, or you ever mess around with moonshine, or, you know, I didn't understand it until I started, you know, we're 40,000 plus bottles in at this point. In 4 years, almost 3.5, 4 years.
Amazing.
And so now when I look at a batch and I take that lid off and I'm like, okay, this is not acceptable. And we're almost at temperature. And there are some things we can do pH wise to get that dialed in. But those are the small details that where I do push back on distributors. And I'm like, it's not about 40 SKUs. It might be to you, but it's not for me, the guy that makes this every day. It's about quality.
That's right. This is your only SKU? Right?
So, man, we do a clear syrup that if you ask me what to use it for, I'd say French 75s. My wife loves French 75s.
What is a French 75?
So French 75 is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of simple syrup, typically a neutral, just sugar and water simple syrup. And then gin. So ounce and a half of gin. And then about 3 to 4 ounces of champagne, and about a half ounce of lemon juice. Lemon juice.
So you made the first two ingredients, or the first and last ingredient has a clear mixer.
Yeah. So our clear mixer is kind of like an orgeat. It's got some almond profile in it, and it's got a little bit of citrus for the same reason that we're pursuing this pH thing.
Yep.
And it makes a great French 75. I think it makes a great margarita too, if you like a very tequila forward margarita.
Love it.
You know, like, I mean, and nowadays,
How I drink my margaritas.
you know, so yeah, a half ounce of the clear, a half ounce of fresh lime juice, 2 ounces of tequila. That's it.
I'm going to try that today.
No Cointreau, no triple sec, you know, and
It'll be great.
nowadays with the single barrel tequila offerings and the really high end tequila offerings, again, it fits that spirit, right? Those bottles are going to sell for the same, you know, this is about a $13 to $15 price point bottle. And so it's not going to go for the vodka drinker, right? The guy that's buying Tito's is not really going to find value in a $13 kind of mixer simple syrup. Maybe they will, but
Totally understand.
you know, but it fits with the tequila world. So
So two products. You've got this old fashioned and then your clear
Yeah.
mixer.
yeah,
Are you going to change sizing, do you think?
yeah. So we have a 16 ounce in this.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so we introduced that, and that was more focused on premise bars and restaurants.
How's it working?
It's working really well. My distributor buys it for all the retailers more than they do for the on premise. So it's like in Louisiana. I mean, I wouldn't say it's 1-to-1, but we've been in the Louisiana market almost 4 years now. And so we have our just tried and true Sirop de Saizon drinkers, and they're buying the 16 ounce every time because there's some better economics for the consumer on that.
Makes total sense. Buying a half gallon compared to a fifth.
Exactly. So we do have that. If that's something you guys want to get your hands on, we can get you some.
How many states are you in?
So we're in California, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, South Carolina.
7 states.
Yeah.
Dude, you're just getting started.
And we're just getting started, man.
That's so exciting.
And we take such a, simple approach. So I usually, coming up here, right, I usually drive to come up here. It's about 900 miles. I'm driving down the road. I'm like, is this, should I be doing this? Is this it's a good use of, resources? And every time I tell myself, whenever I doubt myself for a trip, a tasting, an event, a consumer show, my goal is always fix one new person an old fashioned. So if I meet one person today, we're going to have a tasting here this afternoon. If I meet one new person and they get to try my old fashioned, mission accomplished.
100%.
And one of my favorite taglines is something that's driven me in this business since day one is one old fashioned at a time. That's
a cool company motto.
I mean, like when we sit down and make decisions, right? Are we going to invest in this? Are we going to do this kind of marketing? Are we going to grow this way? Does it support the mission of one old fashioned at a time? Are we improving the consumer's experience with this cocktail? And I think the way it ties into bourbon for me, and, when you share these special bourbons with people, to me, it's that tying a flavor to a memory, right? So Eric Church has this thing, you tie a melody to a memory, right? If you ever go to his concerts, he loves to kind of say that. And for me, it's you tie a flavor to a memory. Old Uncle Billy comes in, you don't get to see him much, but he loves rye whiskey, whatever.
Right.
You serve him some rye, or you make him a rye whiskey old fashioned. And the next time you have that, might be, special bottle, might have it again 6 months later by yourself. And you think about it.
Memory, 100%.
Because you're like, last time I had this, it was Uncle Billy. It was Christmas 2020. And that's what's hopefully what a lot of people get out of these quality bourbons and hard to find bourbons. Hopefully they do open them and share them. Make an old fashioned. Sip it how you want.
All right, so 40,000 bottles right now. Do you want to be, 4 million, 40 million bottles? Is that your goal, or what is your goal of the company?
One old fashioned at a time.
Awesome. Do you think you'll sell the company one day?
I don't know. It's...
Or your 12-year-old in 6 years?
Yeah, they can run it. I think, my response to that would be build a great company.
Awesome.
Build just, you come walk in Southern Spirits, right? It's a phenomenal place. You guys don't wake up every morning. You obviously got long-term goals, but you don't wake up every morning hoping a private equity dude walks in. You're just like, look, we got a great consumer base. We provide good service, good product selection. How do we do that? Let's keep doing that.
Right.
And so for me, it's...
The fruit comes.
Right. And so at the end of the day, I think if you focus on running a good business, quality product, consistency, and look, don't get me wrong. There's times when my distributors will send me a PO and I'm like, guys, I'm 10 days out. I'm not going to ship to you for 10 days because we're not just sitting here mass producing it and, filling up a warehouse so that I can fulfill POs. We're trying to do it right. And so it does take time to grow correctly where we can maintain quality of product and obviously profitability, the whole business side of it. But
marketing wise, talk about that for a second. What are you doing marketing wise?
Man, so it's a lot of... we do our social media posts. I don't have this big marketing scheme.
Like when you say social media, just your individual posts, or are you utilizing like influencers?
So very, very few on the influencer side. We've got some people that I've just simply gifted product to.
Yeah.
That, we'll make old fashions. They'll do a post every now and then. I've got a guy in Nebraska who loves to fly fish. He's been published in Ducks Unlimited. He's a photographer. So he just loves the product, and we've just become really good friends. He makes some posts, gets some things out there. Got an ex-bull rider in Texas. But most of our kind of affiliate bases just come from either consumers, clients that have purchased online and we've sent them product and built a better relationship, and or people that we found on social media that I reach out directly, hey, can I send you a care package? If you like it and you don't mind posting, that'd be great, do it.
So you're not doing a lot marketing wise. This is pretty organic.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And it, you know, and then the cost of affiliate marketing, which I think is a great way to market it. If you have like-minded affiliates, right? Mixologists, bartenders, just people doing really cool cocktails, which there's a lot out there, that are doing a great job at it. But they're quite expensive. And so I don't want to take away from our ability to perform operationally just to go and get a bunch of sales.
Right. What are you percentage-wise online sales to distributors?
So I really like that question, and it's something that I haven't really struggled with from the beginning, but online sales, probably 10% of overall sales.
So it's nothing.
Yeah. And what I love about our go-to-market is selling our product where people buy the whiskey, because most people walk in, you know, when you're at a store like Southern Spirits, people walk in and they may know Keith, or they know someone else on staff, and they're like, hey, dude, this weekend I need to make, I want to make Manhattans.
Boom, boom.
What do I need?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so, and for me, that's why I love being sold in quality liquor stores. Now in Louisiana, our liquor laws are pretty loose. Like, we can sell liquor in a gas station.
Right.
So we're sold pretty well in grocery stores.
Fantastic.
But you still have a lot of that hand selling going on with the independent guys, where they have people that work the liquor department, and the non-alcs are sitting right next to the, you know, this is sitting right next to the whiskey in Louisiana.
Right. You have not done a package yet with a brand, have you?
Not yet.
Are you able to yet?
I haven't found anybody that isn't
physically. Could you produce that?
Yeah. I think physically we can do it. Cause
I've got a brand,
Okay.
brands.
Okay.
I won't say on camera, but when we get off, I think just that way they can buy the bottle. Yours is in there. It's all put in the price, and then boom.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
And I think for me, like going with a 4 ounce or a 2 ounce, right? Something that can ride on the neck or something like that.
Exactly. It would be perfect.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you. For your bottling, is it more expensive the smaller bottle for you, or does bottle size matter for your price per ounce?
So when you get smaller than 8 ounce, it becomes not very economical for me or the person buying it. I've been asked quite a few times for, let's say like a hotel. I'm very boutique, bougie hotel, maybe a bed and breakfast. Hey, we just want to get, you know, some 4 ounce bottles to put in rooms. I'm like, guys, y'all got to buy 4,000 bottles
to make it make the money make sense.
Right, because we started talking about, you know, if I print 20,000 labels, that price point is going to be great for me. If you only, you know, if you just want to buy 400 bottles of a 4 ounce offering, 1,000 labels cost not much more than 20,000 labels, if that makes sense.
Yep.
When you get into the 8 ounce and the 16 ounce, I do see, from a profitability perspective, like my numbers are just as good with a 16 ounce. I pass that savings on to ultimately the retailer.
And then the consumer.
Right? Because we understand kind of how the whole game works with markup. But anything smaller than an 8 ounce, I wouldn't be able to do that. If you sold this for 13, you'd sell a 4 ounce for 11.
Yeah.
And the customer would be like, this seems silly.
Right.
Whereas the 16 ounce, you sell this for 13, you'd sell it for a little bit more. Right. Where that customer per ounce, you know, would come down the line.
Interesting. 5 minutes. Oh, we have 5 minutes. Okay.
All right.
That's fine. Well, all right. I do want to just say, I really love having you in here. From here, I believe a year from now, you're going to be, who knows, in some big brand box. Be like, that's pretty cool. I remember when we talked about that back then.
I'll still want to come sit at this table and hang out with you.
Yeah, we will.
I don't want to go corporate boardrooms and stuff.
Yeah. What's your next state? Can you say?
Man, so Colorado. I've been targeting Colorado, and selfishly just because I want to travel there.
Sick.
I'm like, how do you pick states? I'm like, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go spend my time, right? And then it's great. I got a young family, so I'm just summertime. Let's go load up in a Winnebago and let's go. No. Hey, we got to go make we got to hit a bunch of
work.
Yeah.
Do that liquor store.
Yeah. So Colorado, we're not in Kentucky at all, and a lot of people have asked, man, why not? How are you not in Kentucky? And it's, I think it goes back to understanding the market. I do think there's some good fits for us in Kentucky. I don't know the market that good. I don't come from this space. And when I talk to distributors and when I talk to, even if it's brokers, I'm not going to act like I know the players and where I need to be. I'm a normal dude who likes old fashions, and we make a good product. If you can guide me in the right direction, we'll execute. We'll take care of those people. So yeah, Colorado,
Cool.
and then Kentucky, Tennessee would be great.
If you go to Kentucky, please, I've been asking this forever, please somebody make a limestone water we can just mix with bourbon.
All right, just in the bottle.
That's it. That's it. It can be plastic. I don't care. I mean, somebody needs to do a quality one that can be distributed everywhere, so that way you can have the same water they're cutting the bourbon with, but nobody's doing it.
Not a lot of people understand. You know what I want to do? So I want to make ice with it. I'm like,
that's a good idea.
Limestone water ice, and so many people don't understand why. But if you introduce it to them, they're like, "Oh, that's what I should be using." And then you could sell it. Literally, this is the weird stuff that I think about growing our brand. We've been recently working with an architect in a bigger facility, and in that, I'm like, I want to make ice. I want to make this bougie ice.
Yep.
Where like bars, restaurants, I don't know how we'll deliver it yet. I'll plug a damn freezer into the back of my truck.
Lavender, lemon already inside.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe just ice. But to your point, when you tell them why you made it with limestone water, they're like, oh, snap.
Genius.
Yeah.
And they can mark it up $1.
Oh, they will.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. You're awesome, guys. Sirop
de Saizon.
Y'all, links can be below. Again, thanks for following Southern Spirits Podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you guys the next Friday.
Cheers.
Guys.